look wild, but I'm not actually. Wildlife photographer. Okay. Death is for sure. Death is for sure for that which is born, as birth is for as sure for that which is dead. So grieve not for what is inevitable, said the great Bhagavad Gita. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests.
Good afternoon.
Why was this statement actually made? Does this hold any significance to Kurukshethra that I am going to talk about? Now, to understand all these things, I request each one of you to join me as I go back into my past. It was in the year 2000. Quite a normal day for me to begin. I got ready. So was my sister. She's getting ready, packing her bag, this. My father was honking. Both of us dressed, and he asked us to sit back, and we sat on his old scooter. He dropped us to the school, and as we went past the gate, I looked at him and I waved. He passed by the gate of my school and he reached his office. It was quite a normal day for me, as I mentioned earlier. I was sleeping in the last bench and maybe I was some 6-7 years old. It was 3rd grade. I was not that kind of a person who used to sit in the first benches, listen to classes. I used to sit back and have that wonderful sleep. I slept off. It was in the third, 4th hour, I guess. I'm not sure which hour it was. My teacher came to me and I woke up. I looked at her and she was surprised. She said, "Your uncle is waiting near the door." I rubbed my eyes and I looked at him. Oh, it was my uncle. He asked me to get the bag. I took the bag because anyways I didn't open any books to read or write. So I took the bag and I went off. And I asked what happened. He said, "Just now." So he took me and my sister to our house. And as we went there, we were able to see a lot of crowd there. I thought, okay, maybe some function, which I was not informed prior. I went in and my uncle directly pulled off to our parents' bedroom. And there I see my father with the bandage wrapped, with a plaster wrapped around his tummy and back, laying on the bed. I was shocked. My sister started screaming. That's when I came to my senses and I walked up to him. I asked what happened. He said, "Chill, Vinay. It's just a small accident that I met with." I said, okay. The day went by, a lot of visitors coming and visiting my dad. That's when I understood what makes people come is the love that my father has started giving people. It was great to understand that at that age. In the night, I was unable to find sleep in my room. It was completely dark, and darkness teaches life, is what I've always believed in. I started thinking this day, as I mentioned earlier, began normally, but didn't end as I expected it to. I went to my father. I opened my parents' bedroom. I went inside, and he was not sleeping. He looked at me and he smiled. "What, story again?" I said, "Yes." That's when he was sleeping, and he adjusted himself with a big pillow to his back, and he sat with his legs forward and his back on the cot resting. It was great to see that. In spite of so much of pain, he was encouraging me to listen to a story. But today he said, having analyzed what life is for just 1 second when I met with an accident, I'll tell you a story which happened in real life. I said, fine. I was curious. I sat, my legs folded. He started. This story happened just before you were born. 1 year before you were born. There was this one brave kid who was born in the year 1970. I said, okay. Then he said, listen. Son of Raj Singh. And that's when I was like, okay, is he telling something really great? That's when he was in a normal standardized position. He became attention in the bed. He was sitting. That's when he said, son of Colonel Raj Singh. Rakesh Singh was born in the year 1970. I was looking at him. His voice had that excitement and there was a glow in his eyes. I said, go on. He said, right from the very early age, looking at his father, he always dreamt of joining military. And in the age when probably everyone were thinking whether to do science, whether to do commerce, arts, This boy said, I want to join military when he was 16 years old. His father said, wait for 2 more years. He said, okay. At the age of 18, he went back to his father, Colonel Raj Singh, and said, I want to join military again. I'm boosting the time today. He said, I want to join military. He said, wait for 2 more years. At the age of 22, when he finally was ready, and when his father thought he's ready to join the military, he asked him to write the National Defense Academy exam. Rakesh Singh wrote the exam and cleared it. He joined the 79th course of National Defense Academy, and very soon, in the year 1992, in the month of June, on the date of 13th, he commissioned in the 22nd Grenadiers in Jammu and Kashmir. He commissioned it. It was a proud moment for him in his life. He never thought he could achieve it any sooner. I said, okay, that's nice. That happens in each and everyone who joins military. He said, but that particular day that I'm talking about was not the same. I said, okay. He said, I tuned in the radio on 4th of December 1992 to hear Mujahideens have attacked Sophie and Tashil and have started firing in the air and started throwing small-scale grenades in no man's land. I said, okay, just to create panic in the citizens living in and around. I said, yes. For that he replied, it was not a great moment, but the news added one more sentence. It said, the Indian army are joining the Sophie and Tashil to get the situation under control. I said, I was happy. I said, okay. Then he said, he kept calm for quite a few seconds. I said, what happened? He said, 5th of December. I said, okay. What? He said, the Operation Sophian was successfully completed. I said, that's great. And there was a smile on the face. He said, no. We lost the great 2nd Lieutenant Rakesh Singh in that battle. I looked at him. He was sad. I said, continue, Dad. I want to know what happened on 5th of December 1992. He said, 1992, 5th of December, 2nd Lieutenant Rakesh Singh commissioned the entire Sophie and Tashil operation. And just when he was arranging his troops in the Pulmau district's Padarpur village on the west of it, he comes to get an information from other company saying that the terrorists whom these people actually planned to lock in, the 8 of them, have started escaping from the south of the village. I looked at him. I was surprised. This happens quite naturally. So he said, now to understand this, what our great 2nd Lieutenant Rakesh Singh did was, without having any troops, just 4 of them, they ran to south of the village just to lock these 8 terrorists. And looking at these 4 Indian soldiers wearing the heavy uniforms and walking towards them, running towards them, these terrorists started using automatic guns and started firing at these people. Looking at this, Rakesh Singh went to the epicenter and shot 2 terrorists right on point blank. I said, great. Then he said, the other 6, looking at this scenario, started escaping towards the boundary. That's when one of the soldiers among these 4 went and stood in the vantage door of the border of India and Pakistan. And looking at this, Lieutenant Rakesh Singh didn't want his soldier to die. Didn't want his soldiers to sacrifice his life at that very early age, in spite of this guy just being 22. He ran through the barricades of fire which were kept there. And looking at that, he was shot 4 bullets into his left arm. And he fell down. And he looked at these, the remaining 6 of terrorists fleeing off. He stood up and shot 3 of them right in their heart with 4 mm bullets, and all the 3 dead. Looking at this vigor and looking at this raw courage, the other 3 soldiers of Indian army got inspired and killed the other 3, and that's how the entire Sophian operation was successful. But unfortunately, scummed with so many injuries, Rakesh Singh, 2nd Lieutenant Rakesh Singh, was martyred. And to the raw courage and the strength that he showed during this entire Sophie and Tashil operation, he was given the posthumous Ashoka Chakra, the first highest gallantry award that any Indian army officer could receive at the age of 22 in the year 1993, the same year that I was born. I was sad. I looked at my father, and at that age, when you hear something very emotional, you get those tears. And the same happened to me. My father looked at me and he said, Vinay, listen. He tapped my back and said, Vinay, listen. Death is for sure for that which is born, and as birth is for what which is dead. So grieve not for what is inevitable, said the great Bhagavad Gita. I looked at him, and on that day, and even today, when I think back, or when I think about the army stories, or when I read the army stories, I've heard that story, I have read a lot of other army stories. All I get is, these great people, these good living, this correct living people, the Indian army people have sacrificed their lives for us. Just to uphold the justice, just like what happened in the war, Kurukshethra. Over to you.
Thank you, Vinay. Now the time to educate ourselves. And today we have the two great speakers, Toastmaster